welcome back to Tip of the Tongue Talks. Tonight we have something extra special for you. Our favorite bad boy, Lestat de Leon. I said that all wrong. I butchered it. De Leon Cool. There we go. I need to tighten up on my French. Okay. So I'm always intrigued about why people do what they do. So I wanted us to start by talking about Lestat's childhood. Um, they didn't go into it a whole lot in the show, but in the book and the movie, we got a little more information. So I wanted to start about talking about Lestat's childhood trauma. Let's go with Jermaine.
Well, so I read the book. Some of you all have also read the book, and it was especially the one titled Lestat, and they went into full detail about it. So Lestat is actually a nobleman, believe it or not. The French, well, his father was a French nobleman, his mother was as well, and so of course that made him a French nobleman. However, they were very poor. What he would do, because of where he kind of sat in, like he wasn't the eldest son or whatever, so he would go out and he would basically find their food for them. No one else would find their food, and so he was really 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 good at it, so much so that one day he came upon, I believe it was a wolf, if memory serves, more than one wolf, and he killed all the wolves. And he felt like he felt bad about it, like really really bad about it. People in the town started I forget exactly what they called him. Let's just say for right now they called him Wolf Boy or whatever. It wasn't necessarily something that he liked. He felt bad. He felt bad about killing these wolves. Okay. um but he also had a very very close friend. This was someone that he actually fell in love with. He fell in love with a boy.
Nicholas.
Yeah. His nickname was Nikki. He gave him that nickname, Nikki.
Hey, Nikki
So,
Boo.
so they spent a lot of time, talking to each other. This was the only person that he confided in. This is the only person that he confided in, the only person that knew everything about him. Now, Nikki played, not a fiddle, but he played the violin. He played the violin. And that is what ignited his love for music.
Mm. I
Mhm.
I have another theory about his love of music and the arts and acting and all of that, but we can talk about that a little bit later. Um, Another part of his childhood was his relationship with his father. So Lestat didn't have a great relationship with his father. His father was very abusive. So I kind of, in my mind, interwove that into who he was when he became a vampire and how sadistic Lestat is. He actually, they mentioned it in the show, him being a part of a monastery, and I'm like, you never know what Lestat is saying, if it's true or if it's a lie. But he was sent to a monastery for education, and when he got there, it's like, oh great, I want to be one of the brothers. And his dad like outright drags him out of the monastery, like, nope. So it's unfortunate that he gets dragged out of the monastery because that's where he was getting his education. So Lestat was actually illiterate until he's like 21 years old.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, maybe that's part of the reason why he's intrigued by society or high society and music and arts and things like that, because of what happened to him when he was a child and having to go that long without being literate. So, anybody have any thoughts on that?
Well, I'll just add that, and he kind of talked about it in the series Interview with the Vampire. He wanted to be a monk, right? And when he was in the monastery, he was learning to read. But he started with the books of the Bible and all that other good stuff. But he didn't fully learn how to read. He didn't fully learn how to write. And when his father, took him out, he blamed his father for him not knowing how to read, not knowing how to write, and all that other good stuff.
Talk about
And
a strained relationship. Like,
yeah, um, it was traumatic, and his relationship with his mother was a bit different. His mother was kind to him. His mother understood him so much so that, and I don't know if you want to go into that just now, but so much so that the first person that he actually turned into a vampire was actually his mother. It wasn't Louis. The
And
first person was his mother. Yeah.
yeah, even
Brit.
even before he turns his lover, Nikki, he turns his mom. And I think
Mhm.
didn't the mom kind of didn't she introduce him to Nikki or something?
She encouraged the relationship. That's
Yeah.
right. She did. She encouraged the relationship.
Look at Brittany face like, what? This is tea. Pull up.
Mhm. Mhm. Not
Like,
that not that he knew necessarily that he was on the spectrum, right? Like he wasn't thinking of himself as being gay. He wasn't thinking of himself as being bi. He wasn't thinking about that at all. All he knew was that he was able to confide in this guy, and this guy was able to confide in him, and he had a friend, and he had never had that before. And so Nikki was special to him, right? It just so happens that later on he fell in love with Nikki. I'm
she,
sorry, I don't want to go too far.
no, that's okay. Erica, you look like you got a thought.
When you said something about him being sadistic, sometimes I think that comes from the lack of intelligence too.
Mm.
Like you can't learn a better way to deal with your problems or how to be clever at anything. You know how to do it wicked. You know what I'm saying? And wickedly, because you've seen it done wickedly. You can replicate sometimes, but you can't interpret what you're reading. If you if he wasn't a smart guy like that, not like that, not book wise.
Also, at that point, his definition of love was warped. He felt no love from anyone, even his mom, the only person who showed him any type of sympathy. She didn't necessarily show him love, so he didn't know. He's never learned how to show love. He doesn't even know what love looks like. And
Mm.
so, because of the relationship that he had with his family, that's
Mm.
why we have the Lestat that we have.
Well,
But there is more to Lestat. I firmly believe that the reason why Lestat fell in love with Louis is because he saw someone who was a lot like him. I'll leave it at that. I'll stop talking.
Mm.
so like Lestat, he has his family of origin, right? So that kind of brings us into him becoming made. Um, his maker, what is it, Magnus? I want to say. Um, and we kind of talked about this before in other episodes. He doesn't train Lestat, so you have Lestat that has already been plucked from something he loves in the monastery. Your father is physically abusive and quite likely verbally as well. Like, okay, you wanna do what? You want to be part of the church? Oh, okay, I'm gonna show you. Now you're not gonna know how to read. Um, so we have that. Um, and now when you are turned into a vampire, you don't get any training. So not only do you go a significant amount of your human life being illiterate, kind of like a cast off, um, now you're this apex predator with minimal
Dumb as a box of rice.
minimal training as best. And then the person that makes you is extremely powerful. So now that power is transcended down onto you. So you have all this power and no intelligence to go with it. Like
Bad.
You just
Brittany,
figuring it out by trying stuff.
I'm starting to feel bad for Lestat, and I never felt bad for Lestat.
Mm.
that's why we do these deep dives. Like I always feel like nobody is born a monster, right? Like I feel like we all have some type of childhood trauma that makes us part of who we are. A lot of us, or the way that we maneuver through this life. So I have this special love for Lestat. Like, yeah, of course, I love Lestat, the bad boy, but as you dig deep and like look at the layers, it's like, dang, you
You got
know,
every reason to act like this.
right? You are a colossal douchebag, but
So
you have
entertaining
story.
doing it.
And
Huh.
sexy.
Wait, what you
Now that
say?
you brought up the word sexy, can
Sexy.
we talk about the differences between Tom Cruise's Lestat
Woo!
and this Lestat?
Because
We
it was
supposed to be
not
doing
sexy like this.
we supposed to be doing a deep dive, and now you
You
diving
got
deep. Go ahead, girl.
you
Go
got
ahead.
deep.
So
Go
deep.
ahead. Dive deep.
I want to say I've always been into Tom Cruise. I'm pretty 100% sure,
Really?
Yeah, but when
What
he
about
did
Matthew McConaughey?
I like Matthew McConaughey too.
Okay, cool.
He another one. He choosable too.
Mm-hmm.
But
Choosable. That should
choosable.
definitely be a word.
It is a word. We made it up, Frank. He choosable. But he was sexy at his time, but in a more mystifying vampire way. He was a really good actor, so he was really like, but this Lestat is oozing sex appeal.
That
Yeah.
Tom Cruise didn't. It was more. It
He
felt more
oozed
Creepy.
educational.
he was sexy because he and being all in his fierce boo. But he
Yeah.
was a good actor and sold you on it. But you weren't thinking, oh, I want to smash. You was just like, wow,
No.
that's real.
And he's
You know
rich.
what I'm saying? Like, wow, he's believable as a vampire. This one is like, I think
Sexy.
I'll let him bite me. He
You wouldn't let
might,
Tom Cruise bite you?
No, hell
he
no.
might turn me at. He's oozing that kind of thing. And so I just wanted to be clear on the two different type of distinctions.
It's
This
funny.
one is like, oh, what?
Hey, Daddy.
Look,
Yeah, it's like
funny thing is, Anne Rice did not want Tom Cruise to play Lestat.
Did not.
no
Did
oozing sex.
not.
I
She
see
she
why everybody throwing
she
their drawers at this one.
she wanted Brad Pitt to be Lestat, and
Ooh!
she wanted she wanted them switched.
First of all, I was in love when I watched it. I was in love with Louis as
Oh,
as a little girl. I was
Oh,
in love with him.
I wanted that little girl that was a vampire with him.
Girl,
Oh, gosh.
I was like, I'm in
Kristen
love with
Dunst.
him. Yeah,
Yes, Kristen. Yes. I was like,
the little
yo,
plump lips.
that
Come
could be
on.
me.
So that could be me
No,
walking
that's why
beside
isn't it
Red.
me? Why isn't it me? What's going
Hand
on?
in hand. Yes. Buy me a dress and take care of me. Let's
Louis,
go kill together.
Louis. Let's go,
Lord.
Louis.
All right. So speaking of desires, um, let's move on. So one of the questions that I posed, like while thinking about Lestat as a character, is what does Lestat desire most? Like, what do you guys think he desires the most?
Companionship, so that he will not be lonely.
Look, I mean,
Companionship. I think he wanted his essence, his soul, every piece of him, not just like a little bit. He wanted to like basically consume him.
mm,
Just
not a
passion.
He
not
wants
a
somebody
try.
to love him the same way he loved people.
But he don't love.
He doesn't know
He,
how to show love.
Oh, show love. Thank you. He don't know how to show love.
he think he is showing it.
That's it.
His special brand of chaos, and it is a special brand.
Well, and if you think about it, it's kind of like what his dad did to him. Like I am picking out certain points, but his dad ridiculed him all the time,
Mm.
made him seem less than. But the truth of it was that he was keeping the family afloat. It was Lestat.
It's like it didn't matter what Lestat did; it wasn't good enough. Now you want to be an actor? Oh my God!
It sounds like he's jealous of his son doing what he couldn't do.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So he made him crazy.
But my boy definitely ran off to be an actor.
Him and Nikki
Him. Okay, yes, him and Nikki. Okay, Nikki Boo, Nikki Boo. You know
went
we
to
gonna
Paris in Gay Patty. Ooh.
okay. Okay, and Gay Patty, me and Nikki. Ooh la wee wee.
What do they
Yeah.
We.
They shared that good apartment together too.
Mm,
Slept together, same bed.
mm,
Ooh.
Look, before the coffin came into play,
mm,
they was
mm.
in the
Mm, mm.
bed. All right. So let's move on. Um, why New Orleans? Why New Orleans? I know they mentioned it in the show. Um, but what are some of the reasons you think Lestat feels so home in New Orleans?
Because it reminds you of his friend.
Paris, right?
Well, it's got to be more than just Paris, right? Like that's
It's
definitely
debauchery. It's the city of sin. You can do whatever
like
you want. Nobody's gonna catch you. The police don't care. They're for do whatever
Don't
you
remind me.
they
I
got
lived
the
there.
30-day rule to where you kill somebody and nobody come up to try to come against you as a witness, then you scot free. Double jeopardy, baby. You can do whatever you want in New Orleans.
so, so so in the show it said that he was trying to get to St. Louis, right?
Really?
He
at
was
least
trying to get to St.
that's what
Louis,
he said.
What
but
are
on
you
the
doing
way,
in St. Louis?
What's that say?
I don't
Can you
know. I don't know.
imagine that sexy ass in St. Louis? That's
Hold
a
on,
wait.
hold on. My sexy ass from St. Louis.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Tell me
What's wrong with the Lou?
nothing is wrong with, but what he gonna do in like the 1900s in St. Louis?
It was popping.
It was popping, popping.
Yeah, the city was starting to develop.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, that would make sense why he would
Chicago,
want to go
all
there.
of them. Wait, 17 what? It wasn't in the 1700s, huh?
No, 1900s was when he was there.
Oh
The
yeah,
early
definitely.
1900s
Yeah, yeah. It
In the
was
show.
definitely
in the
that.
show,
You
at
know
least in the show.
when that was around the time like the industrialization of like all American cities was happening.
That
Oh,
is
St. Louis was a hub. It really
Mhm.
was. That's right. It
it
was a hub.
was. It
All the
was.
port cities, all the port cities.
It was when the industrial industry started.
It was
That would make a lot of sense.
yeah.
I'm thinking Lestat is a big old
A lot of
freak.
black people might have. You said a big old what?
A
Freak.
big old freak.
Lestat was a
Like
big old
Rita
freak
Howard
in
said, I'll be
New
next movie.
Orleans. You can be a wolf, midget, unicorn, vampire, werewolf. It don't matter. You can be all of it in New Orleans. Okay.
But you know, that is true. And I think that's what adds to the joy of the city though.
Yeah, all the chaos.
I will say this though, New Orleans was a little different than most other cities all around the United States in that blacks, specifically blacks, enjoyed a sort of freedom that blacks in other places around the country did not. And so that lent itself to a sort of liberalism that
Mm.
other cities, wouldn't have had. And I would assume that Lestat, whether in the book or in the show, would have enjoyed that much more.
Did no, the book was back. The Lewis that Anne Rice wrote about was back in the 1800s, right?
Yeah, before the Civil War.
Mm. I was
Yeah.
gonna say something in reference to him, but then I remembered no, 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 it wasn't the same time period. It wasn't the same Louis from the show.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, did we answer your question? I don't even remember what your question was. Shoot.
About New
We were
Orleans.
talking about why New Orleans, so it's kind of open ended, kind of very open ended, right?
Okay.
All right. So one of the things I love seeing is Lestat get Louis so invigorated, like in more ways than one. So again, as I was thinking through all of things Lestat, I was like, does he enjoy empowering Louis more than he does emasculating Louis? Because he does both.
He does.
He does both. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts on Lestat. Do you feel like he enjoys empowering Louis more or emasculating him? Because within the show, he's like, hey, 10%, 15%, whatever, do you not think yourself more or whatever, when he freezes the card game and he's getting in Louis' head about how he's treated in society. And then you have these other moments to Willis that is an all out douchebag to
Mhm.
Louie, and it's like really emasculating. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
I think it's both. I think he gets off in different ways on it. Like, I think he got off on building him up, like grooming him
Mm.
into the initial man that he want, well, vampire or apex predator that he wanted him to be. And then after he groomed him, he still didn't meet up to his standards of certain things that he would do or expect of him. And so I think that he would love to push his buttons and then have sex after. Like, I think that was like his thing. What you think, Bearman?
I think Louis liked it.
Two freaks.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he liked both of it. It's a challenge.
Cause like let's be honest, most of the time people are each other's yin to the yang, right?
Yeah.
They were like trauma bonding. Like
Yes.
like you done been through a lot of stuff. You don't know how to love properly. He done been through a lot of stuff. He don't know how to receive love properly.
Yes.
So y'all just sitting there, and then there's this whirlwind of feelings, and y'all just sitting there abusing each other the whole time, and somebody is enjoying it more than they probably should, because that's the only way they've ever been able to know love. Like that's what I see from Louis, and I think shit, that's what Lestat sensed in him, and that's why he liked doing it.
It
I
was
think he
very
was,
dysfunctional, but it was their
yeah,
dysfunctional relationship and it worked for them.
yeah.
Until it
And
didn't.
and then they had everything was sex. Oh, I'ma just treat you like shit. Then have sex with you. I loved it.
And I would just swim the Mississippi
Whoa,
to get to
whoa.
you while you at your chick
That's what I
house.
was thinking. I'm so glad you said that. And then Lestat got the nerve to put the bit out. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I don't wait
She's sitting
outside.
like, she's sitting like a clown crying while they in there handling business. This is crazy.
Well, let me ask this question. I guess as a follow up to Elia's question. Do you feel Louis ever showed Lestat love?
Mm.
Wow, that sounds like a no.
Yeah,
Was it love or admiration?
yeah. I was about to say I don't know. I don't know that I
No,
can
I'm
say
asking about love. I'm asking about love.
that Louis showed him love. I think it was lustful. I think it
Yeah,
was very lustful, and then it turned into something else after he created,
resentment.
So now we're
That's
bonded
what
in a different way.
So
So
this. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, it's okay.
So this is what I think. So, all right. So Lestat to me is just he's not capable of showing love, as you said. He's not capable of showing love, and he's being put in a situation where the person that he does love is not showing him love. And so because that's not happening, yeah, at a certain point, I'm gonna stop building you up. I'm gonna watch and see you're not reciprocating what I'm giving. And because that's not happening, boom, I'm gonna hit you with this. I'm gonna hit you with this. And there are a couple times it does a better job of it in the book. In the TV show, it did a little better. The movie never showed it at all. But basically, Lestat said, "Why do you make me do these things to you? I don't want to do these things to you, but this is the only way that I get something in return." If you think about it, after he does all of these terrible things, after a while, Louis does show him love.
It's
That's true.
conditioning.
Remember when he
It's
swam the
so
Mississippi?
man, man, what?
He swam the Mississippi.
Mm.
Because
Remember after
before
he
he was giving them a car, he was giving them, I'm here and all this other good stuff. Nothing. The minute he put old girl on that
on the
record,
record.
Louis snapped.
Like
Stop,
this is enough.
hey, stop. What song is that? Why you looking with me? Why you with me? That's how he was swimming, trying to
I'm gonna
get
show you.
to him. Like, I'm like, when I
I'm gonna
see this
pull up
man,
as a person. I'm at your front door.
Yeah.
when he brought those soldiers in. The show.
He be with the mind games, okay? You won't be funny.
Oh, this what you want. This what you like. You got to type.
I'm gonna give it to you in bulk. Welcome
Okay.
to the Sam's edition of your fantasy.
What did he say? What did Lestat say? I'll let you f him, and I'll do what? What did he
Like
say?
your pizza.
Oh, I can't hear you.
You cut out E.
Oh, I said pull up like here your pizza.
You want pepperoni? You want ham? You want mushrooms?
Got it all. What topping you want, baby? Because I got it for you.
A variety. Okay.
I'm Mario. Be my Luigi. Come on, let's go.
It was crazy. And that and what does that do? Like it.
Freaks. Straight up freaks. Gotta love it.
Freak in the
All right.
morning, freak in the evening, just like you.
In the house.
All right. Jermaine, do you have the clip?
Yes.
You have the clip?
You
All
want
right.
to set it up or?
Yes. So there's a clip that I want us to see before we close out and ponder the question: is Lestat pure evil?
Ooh, what is the definition of pure evil?
We're gonna look at the clip.
This primitive country has picked you clean. It has shackled you in permanent exile. Every room you enter, every hat you are forced to wear, the stern landlord, the deferential businessman, the loyal son, all these roles you conform to, and none of them your true nature. What rage you must feel as you choke in your sorrow. The first time I laid eyes on you, your beautiful face, I saw that sorrow. I did not know how it got there or why. It was so voluminous. I can take away that sorrow, Louie. I can give you that death you begged your feeble, blind, degenerate, non-existent God for.
So he's in this moment, mind you, Lestat is giving Louis a choice. Is he pure evil? And I got your definition, Brittany. Your definition is profoundly immoral and wicked. So Jermaine is trying to cool himself down. Let me give you a minute to gather yourself.
It's the palpitation.
He looked and reached into his soul when he was talking. That wasn't no regular conversation. That was soul talking. Our souls touched in that moment. Then they levitate. What?
Look, and then right. So they say he touched his soul. And here go Louis. Here you go. You can have it. I wouldn't use it.
Take it
Why
all.
you my eyes like that, man? Who me?
I wouldn't really use it.
Y'all, it's so good. That part was so good. Good job on picking the clip.
In the church.
She wanted like literally, y'all, she wanted 15 seconds, but I couldn't. I was just
That's because I felt like I was sending you too many clips that you never got, by the way. So I was like, okay, let me calm down on the last one and try to shorten it because I asked you for 67 things. But so I was like, when I was looking at it in that moment, I'm like, dang, is he pure evil? He gave him a choice. Like,
he did.
Even though he did give him a choice, is it evil because he basically gave up his religion, his soul, everything that was in essence his humanity? Is that evil?
To me, that wasn't the evil part. The evil part was killing the priests. That was
That
the
was pretty
We
evil.
still in the church, by the way.
This ain't do nothing
And
but love Jesus. Why he gotta die?
but I want to remind you that Louis, even though he grew up in the church, Louis wasn't going to church no more.
that was Paul.
Oh,
Jermaine. No.
that's true. He wasn't going
Jesus don't know your name, Louis. He don't know you.
Hold on,
after
man.
everything
You ain't
y'all
so
told me. I don't believe that Lestat is pure evil anymore. I believe that Lestat did lose his humanity, but I don't think he's pure evil. I think he was a very complicated vampire that had layers to him. But I'm not going to say he was pure evil, though. Because pure evil, I don't even think he would have allowed him to save Claudia if he was pure evil.
right.
I think he would have just been like, you know what? Let's just let her die. Can we sip on her a little bit before she die? Like, I don't think Lestat was pure evil like I originally thought before we started this episode.
Oh, okay. Come
That's
on.
interesting.
Serving. So there's a very specific reason why I chose to pose that question, because Lestat was never given a choice to have this, dark gift, right?
True.
So the way that he was made was all wrong. And even
Traumatized.
with that, I was
Have we
like,
talked
hey,
about that? Have we talked about how he was made?
no, we didn't. We actually didn't go into that.
I just know what happened in the book because I just know the part about what he said on the show.
He didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
So what happened was he was performing, and there was this person who just made eye contact with him, who was just watching him, watching every part of him, and he felt like someone was bearing into his soul. And that's exactly what was happening. He didn't know, what the deal was. This happened, for days and days and days and days, every time that he performed. And then I guess the vampire came into his dreams for several nights.
Oh, wow.
After a while, Lestat felt like he was losing his mind. And then one night, because Lestat, he didn't want to go to sleep. He didn't want to go to sleep, but he fell asleep. Vampire came, took him.
Trying to be a thespian and acting and stuff, and you got snatched.
Fed on him, kept him in a dungeon. He thought he was gonna
cave?
a dungeon.
A dungeon?
A dungeon with other people.
Mhm.
With other people who look just like him.
With blonde hair.
Not a fetish.
That's worse than Alex Cross's Kiss the Girls.
Madness
Not a fetish.
was crazy.
And so he thought he was gonna die. All of a sudden, old boy pulls him up, takes him upstairs, wherever it is, to show them what whatever. Let me skip. Basically, he told him, "Look, I'm gonna do this to you. This is what's gonna happen.
I want you, and I gotta have you.
I'm tired of living my life." He told him like maybe 3 or 4 things about how to live as a vampire, and then he said, "Then I want you to kill me, and this is how you're going to kill me.
Whoa.
You're gonna burn me, and then after you burn me, because it's still possible for me to come back alive. Just because you burn me, it's still possible for me to come back alive. What I want you to do is I want you to scatter my ashes."
Not your final wish.
Kill me and scatter my ashes, and you have no choice.
You got my affairs in order.
He had no choice in the situation, none whatsoever.
This is
300
crazy.
and some. I think Magnus was like 300 some years old.
And how old was Louis?
Louis got made at early 20s, I want to say.
No, he was 30 something.
Because he had been acting for a little while.
You said Louis. I mean,
Lestat. How old was Lestat when he got to Louis? Y'all remember?
I don't remember Lestat.
He was at least a couple 100 years old, right?
Oh, you mean as a vampire?
Yeah.
I want to say like maybe 150.
Oh, so he hadn't hit that mark where he was just like, I'm done living. Okay.
No, I'm about to turn up.
First
Actually,
of all, that's not even Lestat style anyway.
It's not. Lestat said he gonna be here forever.
Yeah.
If he,
Mhm.
this is
Pimping
crazy.
and macking and pimping.
Look,
And that's why I don't even think he's evil. Because if he was really evil, he wouldn't have killed his maker like he asked him to. He would have just let him suffer. Or do you have to do what your maker says?
no, no. That's other vampire movies.
Okay, so I would he could have just let that vampire suffer, but he followed his wishes. This is deep, y'all.
And at this point, he's still really young, so he's not the Lestat we've grown and to know and watch. This is Lestat before living over 100 years or so. So that made me feel like, okay, I really don't think Lestat is pure evil. Like
No.
these horrible things happen to you, but you still giving someone else a choice of whether or not they want this life. You asked, like,
He done
so.
been through some stuff.
Mhm.
Oh, and that's not all. I mean, there's more to his story.
What else happened?
Well, I'm certain Elia is going to talk about that a little bit later.
Look, well, this is just our first episode of covering Lestat. I hope you have enjoyed our banter.
Y'all are a
My
team.
favorite bad boy. And we'll see you guys next time.
See, oh, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Have a good one, y'all.